Welcome to this autumn grounding flow. This class will echo many of the sentiments of autumn, including balancing poses like that of maybe a tree balancing against the wind. It also includes some grounding poses, just like the leaves of autumn falling to the ground. Autumn is typically a time when we move towards hibernation, whereas summer was a time for bloom, activity, and abundance. Autumn represents slowing down. I hope you enjoy this class, and I'll see you on the mat. Hello my friends, and welcome to this autumn yoga flow. For this class you are going to need some blocks, two ideally, so that we can do some of the poses with a little bit more precision and get a little bit deeper. Also they will help with balance. So grab some water, because this is an hour-long vinyasa class, and come down onto your mat and let's begin. We're going to begin this class focusing on grounding down to the earth. Taking a few breaths here. Inhaling our hands up above us and then letting them drop down. And repeat this a few times, just visualizing leaves falling from trees. And then here, bringing our right ear to our right shoulder. Coming back up and then taking it to the other side. Coming back up, interlacing the hands behind us, opening up the chest, and then bending forward, lifting our arms up above us, bringing the shoulder blades together. Coming up, placing the right hand on the mat, bringing the left arm over the top. Beautiful. Picturing a tree leaning over. Coming back to center and then replace, bringing your right arm over, feeling that lovely stretch in the obliques. And coming back up, we'll do some arrow arms now, bringing the left hand to the right shoulder blade and grabbing onto the left elbow with the right hand. And release and swap that round, bringing the right hand to the left shoulder blade and grabbing hold of the right elbow. And release. Sitting up straight now and bringing your left hand to your right knee and looking out behind you. Coming back to center and take that to the other side. Twisting as far around as you can. And coming back to center and then circling the shoulders, looping around back, feeling that crunch. And coming back to the front. Circle the head round and then round the other way. And then coming on to all fours and then sinking down into child's pose, just really feeling the earth beneath you. Grounding yourself down now. Breathing in, and set your intention for the day, for this class. It might be, I embrace change. It might be, I will remain grounded. An affirmation that maybe suits the autumn. And if this isn't your thing, that's absolutely fine. But for those of you who do, just hold on to this affirmation if the day gets busy or if things begin to move too quickly. Just come back to those intentions. Inhale now, coming up onto all fours. We'll do a few cat-cows. Inhale, arching the spine, bringing the tailbone in, letting the neck drop. Then exhale. Inhale. Arching the spine. Exhale. And we'll stretch the wrists now. Do a little bit of a stretch because we often don't stretch wrists. So I'd like you to rotate your hands around the front of your mat like this. So your thumb should be facing the outside of your mat sides, and then just leaning back slightly towards your heels. And then coming back up, bring your hands out in front of you, flatten down your arms, placing your wrists on the mat, and then just leaning back slightly. Again, just getting into this twist in your wrists, just a different way. Stretching your arms. And then sitting back onto your heels and just loosen up the wrists after that stretching. And now coming into a downward facing dog. Just pedaling it out here. Let your head drop towards the earth. And earth will be a continuous theme throughout this class. Pedaling it out slowly from side to side. Keeping your feet apart if that helps you a little bit in this pose. Pressing down through the palms, checking that your biceps are aligned with your ears, and just pushing up as much as you can to the ceiling, bringing the sternum in towards the thighs. Beautiful. And now, slowly come down onto your knees. And bringing your right leg out behind you, bringing it over towards the left-hand side, and look out towards that right leg. Coming back to center, and we'll take that onto the other side. So bringing the left leg over towards the right-hand side of the mat, and then look out over your right shoulder. Coming back to center now. We're going to bring out the right foot again and hover into a bird dog type position. And then slowly twisting your hips, opening up to the side of the mat. And then if you like, lifting up, opening up your chest, trying to keep lifted in this pose, lifting your right arm up off the mat. Grounding down into your mat, focusing the energy in your palm that supports you. Exhale, coming down, and we'll take that to the other side. So this time, sliding back your left leg. Inhale, hovering it off the mat, and we'll come into bird dog. And then coming out, opening up the hips to the side. If you can, lifting up your left arm off the mat. Keeping that left leg active. Exhale, come down to the mat now. And now bringing out your right leg and lifting up your left arm. And then let your right leg hover off the mat. And then we're just going to pulse, bringing our knee into our chest. And then release, coming down onto your hands, finding that balance, finding that grounding. And then coming back with your left leg. And then lifting up your right arm. And then coming into our Superman pose. And then begin to crunch. And we'll take 8 of these, trying to lift your leg and arm up as much as you can. If you need to modify and bring one of them onto the mat, that's absolutely fine. Beautiful. 2 more. And then returning to cat-cow. Tucking tailbone in, dropping the neck, arching the spine. Exhale, dropping the stomach, opening the chest, lifting the chin, lifting the tailbone. Just repeat that a few more times. And then tucking the toes under, we'll make our way into downward facing dog. Feeling that wonderful, nourishing stretch through the hamstrings. And again, keeping your feet a little bit wider if you need to. Pushing down through your heels. And then we're going to come into our plank pose. So you can modify this by bringing your knees to the mat, or you can stay up. So just making sure your pelvis is coming towards the mat and your back is straight. Then we're just going to do 3 push-ups. Beautiful. Coming back, tuck the toes under into a downward facing dog. And then walk to the front of our mat into a forward fold. So here you'll just feel that beautiful nourishing stretch in the lower back. Let your head hang down. This time I'd like you to bend your left knee, keeping the right leg straight, and then opening up with your right arm up to the sky, feeling that deep twist. This should feel really good on your right hamstring as well. Coming down, take that to the other side, bending your left knee, and then opening up your left arm. This feels a lovely stretch down this area of the body. Exhale, come back to center, and now interlace the hands behind you and just let that stretch fall down a bit for. Coming up, placing your palms on the mat before you do that, and then slowly working your way up into Tadasana, mountain pose, very slowly. Opening up your chest to the sky, straightening up the spine, lifting the chin here, having feet hip width apart, imagining a straight line going up your whole body, lifting up towards the sky. Inhale, palms up above you. Exhale to the ground. Inhale, halfway up. Imagine the drinks tray on your back. Exhale down to the mat and step back into plank pose. Now placing your knees on the mat, we're going to step forward into a low lunge. Feeling that pull, opening up your hips, sink down into this pose. Checking that your right knee isn't in front of your right ankle too much and that they're aligned. And then coming up, bringing your spine a bit straighter. Inhale, lifting your palms up above you. And then opening your hands, your arms into cactus pose. And then bringing the arms in and then out. Beautiful. Releasing now. Placing your palms on the mat and then rooting down through your left hand, opening up towards the right hand side, opening up your chest. Then tucking the left toe under and come into a high lunge, runner's lunge here. Keep your arms, your left hand on the mat. Exhale now, coming down to the mat. And then coming forward into our forward fold. So coming forward, hopping forward with your left foot. And then halfway up, exhale down to the mat. And then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, coming up into our Tadasana, standing pose, mountain pose. And we'll repeat that onto the other side. Just find your balance here. Visualizing like you're a tree in the wind. Inhale, palms up above you. Exhale down to the mat. Halfway up. Exhale. Now step back into plank. Bring the pelvis down towards the mat and then bend the knees. And we'll take a low lunge. This time bringing your left foot forward. Beautiful, so nourishing. If you can, then come up, keeping your spine straight, and we'll come out into cactus arms again. Just checking your alignment suits you here. Hopefully you're not wobbling too much, trying to keep the hips square with the front of the mat, and then coming in and out. Excellent. Now bringing the palms down to the mat. Bringing the right hand down to the earth and then opening up with your left arm, looking over your left shoulder. When you're done here, tucking the right foot under, trying to do a high lunge. keeping your right arm on the mat. Beautiful. Bringing the palms down to the mat and then bending the right leg, coming to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Coming up halfway, exhale down to the mat and slowly working your way up into a mountain pose. So here, stand with your legs a bit further apart than you might normally. I'm going to come into a chair pose. So here, bringing your palms out in front of you diagonally, tucking the tailbone in, engaging the core, begin to bend the knees and we'll come into chair pose. Good way of testing your balance here is if you can rock back onto your heels. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. And now we're going to step back into a warrior one pose. So bringing the left leg behind you, opening up if you need to. Your left foot, bending your right knee, just coming into this pose, trying to keep your hips square with the front of the mat if you can. If you need to, as I say, adjust your left foot, that's absolutely fine. Inhale, palms up above you, warrior one. A great pose for balance and strength and stamina, which we often need through the colder months. And then coming down, bringing the palms in front of you, bringing the right arm underneath the left, coming into eagle pose or half eagle, twisting the arms out in front of you, and then bending down towards the right knee, and then coming up, repeating this. And we'll take 10 of these. Halfway now. Beautiful. Release that pose. Now we'll kind of pivot into a warrior two. So again, if you need to adjust the left foot, bending here through your right knee, opening the hips up towards the front of the mat. Inhale, palms parallel with the mat and arms looking out over your right shoulder. Straighten up that spine. Bring the shoulder blades together if you can. Warrior two. Breathing here. And then bringing your left arm down to meet the left thigh. Bringing your right arm over you here, reverse warrior. Exhale now, extended side angle. Bringing your forearm to your right knee, lifting over with your left arm. Try not to let the shoulders collapse here. Opening. Exhale. And now reach for your block as we come into a half moon pose. So bringing the block to the left hand side of your right foot, or a little bit further out, maybe in front of your foot, whatever suits you best. Lifting up the left hand and then, I did that wrong. And now we're going to take half moon pose. So bring the block out in front of you here and just begin to balance into this pose and then lifting out to the side. Exhale now, coming down to the mat, and we'll take a triangle pose. Bringing the right hand down to meet your right shin, opening up to the side. just a wonderful stretch. I really enjoyed this pose. If you want to come down a little bit further, just because you can, feel free to touch the mat. Or again, always use your block. Gorgeous stretch for the hamstrings. Exhale now, coming down to the mat. Stepping down into Tadasana. Bending, forward fold here. Coming up, slowly does it into Tadasana. And then we're going to take that exact same sequence onto the other side. So stepping back into our warrior two, bending the left knee this time, opening the hips out to the side. Reverse warrior. And then extended side angle, forearm down to your left thigh. As before, grab hold onto your block. Have your block out to the front. Find whatever balance is, and then slowly lifting your right leg this time off the mat, and then open up to the side. Exhale now, come down to the mat, and we'll take a triangle pose. Again, use your block if you need to here. Beautiful. Releasing that pose, come back into forward fold, and slowly we'll make our way up to Tadasana. Just loop the shoulders here. Exhale now, come down to the mat. Have both of your blocks out in front of you here, and resting both of your hands on the blocks. Then take your right leg out, crossing it behind your left. Coming back, and then just find your balance, pressing down through the left foot. So just focus on getting this balance, maybe bringing the foot a little bit closer to you if that suits you, and then lifting your right leg off the mat, just parallel to the mat, keeping a micro bend in your left knee, or come into a warrior three. Coming down now, bending your leg, just letting the toes tap to the floor, standing up into Tadasana, and then bringing your knee into your chest, one-legged Tadasana. Again, visualizing a tree in the wind, rooting down to the earth, keeping still in spite of all the elements. Beautiful. Releasing that, we'll take that onto the other side. So inhale, palms up above you. Exhale down to the mat. Palms on the blocks in front of you. Wrapping your left leg around your right. This time, let your head hang here, feeling that deep stretch. That feels good. Now come back to center. This time lifting your left leg parallel with the mat. We'll take a warrior 3. Careful that you maintain that micro bend in your right leg. Sorry. Pushing up through your left leg, trying to keep it as active as possible. Don't let it drop. Pushing up. And then clapping the toe onto the mat, the left toe, coming up into Tadasana. Once again, we'll take a one-legged version, bringing the left knee into the chest. Wonderful. And slowly here, letting go. Coming up, lifting the palms up above you. Exhale now, down to the mat. Stretch out those hamstrings. Halfway lift, hands on the shins, hands on the thighs. Exhale down to the mat, bending the knees, coming into our plank pose, and then do 3 press-ups. And then come back into a downward facing dog. Just let yourself hang here for a few seconds, catch your breath. And then come up into a 3-legged dog, lifting up your right leg first. And then bringing your knee into your chest, up again. Two more. Beautiful. And now bringing the right foot in between the gates of your palms, just gently here. Work your way down into this, bending your left knee. I'm going to take a lizard pose. So here, I'd like you to bring your right hand to the left-hand side of your right hand, and then heel toe out to the side. So here, those blocks could be handy. You might want to put your hands on them to rest, and just come into this pose a little bit more deeply. And then coming out of this pose, heel toe back to the center. We'll take a half split, coming back with your hips, flexing your right foot. Coming forward into a low lunge, and then here placing your right hand on the mat, opening up to the left hand side. Exhale, now come back to the mat, and then coming back onto all fours. Tuck the toes under, take a downward facing dog. Lifting up the left leg this time. And then coming forward with the left knee into the chest. Take 5 of these. And then slowly bringing the left foot in between the gates of your palms, taking a low lunge here, working our way into a lizard pose, bringing the left hand to the left hand side of the right hand side of your left foot, heel toe out to the side, come into lizard pose, and again using your blocks here if you need to. This is so nourishing for opening up the hips, relieving areas of huge tension in your body. Sink more deeply into it, breathe as you do so. And then bringing your foot in between the palms, placing your blocks to one side now. And then come back into half split, bringing your hips back, flexing the left foot. Bending your left leg now. Take an open leg twist. So bringing the left hand down to the mat to help you balance, and then opening up to the side with your right arm up to the sky. Exhale now. And now returning to tabletop. And then inhale. Take a few cat-cows here. And then coming up into hero pose, standing hero pose. Placing your palms to your lower back, bringing your elbows towards each other. Just find comfort here, or whatever suits you. Then lean back, opening up your chest. Option if you want to bring your blocks into this, using the blocks behind you, just come into a camel pose. Or you might be able to do it by just reaching for your heels. Coming up now, once you're done, onto all fours. And then tucking the toes under, we'll come into a downward facing dog. Walking forward now with the palms so that they're in line with the hands. Using your block here, again, placing the block there. We're going to come into a malasana pose, yogi squat. So begin to bend down, finding your way, and then grabbing the block if you need to, and coming to sit down. Opening up your hips here, palms together. Now obviously the block can really help you open up the hips a little more, but if you're inclined to practice your balance and stretch, you might remove the block and do this, trying to straighten up your spine as much as possible. Malasana. Beautiful. Now placing the palms down onto the mat. We'll come up into a forward fold. And then step back into a downward facing dog. Just checking alignment here. Pedaling it out with your feet. Neck is in line with the biceps. Head is hanging towards the mat. Pressing down through the palms. Lift up with your bum up to the sky, and then bringing your heels down to the mat, stretching out through the calves, through the hamstrings. And now, bringing the right knee towards the right wrist, and then the right foot towards the left wrist. We'll take a pigeon. Now here, maybe use your block underneath your right hip, because we might be going into a more deep pose just after we get used to this. Ideally, your shins should be aligned to the front of the mat. Pigeon pose, keeping your hips square. And if you'd like to extend this further, now you're a bit more deeply involved in it, bend your left leg, reaching round with the right arm. Mermaid pose, using that block for support, and you'll feel this really deep stretch in your left thigh. And releasing here. And then release the pose entirely. Beautiful. Come back into a downward facing dog. And now I'm going to bring our left knee to our left wrist and our left foot towards our right wrist. Grab hold of that block again and just placing it under. Pigeon pose. Bending your right leg, meeting it with your left, if that's available to you today. Mermaid pose. Deepening the stretch in your hips. And now releasing this pose. Placing the blocks to one side. We'll come into a butterfly pose. Placing the feet together, the soles of your feet together out in front of you. Let the knees drop out to the side. And then slowly coming back, lying down on the mat. Reclined butterfly. Arms over the top, if you feel inclined. Remember your intention that you thought of at the front, at the beginning of the class. I embrace change. Now bringing the knees together, straightening out the right leg. Bring the left knee into your chest. We'll take a half happy baby. So grabbing the left foot either side. And just letting your knee come towards your armpit. Try to keep your calves up towards the sky, your ankles active. So relaxing, this pose. And releasing that leg, taking that to the other side, bringing the right knee into the chest. And then grabbing hold of your right foot, either side, half happy baby, using the left arm to help you balance. ignoring any pigeons that may fly over your head. And releasing this pose. Now here, I'm going to come into a waterfall pose. So maybe if you'd like to, bring the knees in towards your chest first, and then try and straighten your legs out to the sky, pushing through your heels here. Just letting the blood come towards your pelvis. And this is our final pose before Savasana. Keep that pose active. Reversing the effects of gravity that your legs often support. And then bringing your hands behind your head, slowly lower the legs down with control, slowly, slowly, slowly. And then we'll come into our final resting pose, Savasana. It's to embrace time for some real rest as the season changes and things begin to slow down, in contrast to the summer, where things are often vibrant, growing. This is a time where the seasons, the animals and the flowers and the plants begin to recede. Feel yourself sinking into the earth, unclenching your jaw, unfurrowing your brow. Let your heart, your lungs sink into the earth. And imagine roots of the tree wrapping themselves around you. Making you sink down into the earth. Just let go. Let your legs fall out to the side, your shoulders relax. Inhale and exhale. And then putting your hand on your heart and the other hand on the belly. Inhale for 1. Hold, exhale for 1. Inhale for 2. Hold, exhale for 2. Inhale for 3. Hold, exhale for 3. Inhale for 4. Hold, exhale for 4. Inhale for 5. Hold. Exhale for 5. Take a few final breaths here. Deep into your soul, into your body. And then exhale the toxins. Picture that cleansing breath permeate your body. And then begin to wiggle your hands and your feet. Shaking the legs and the arms. And then do a pencil stretch, bringing your palms over your head. Bend your knees here, soles of the feet on the mat, and we'll get up in a roll up. So here, bringing the palms over your head, peeling your spine off the mat, grabbing hold of your thighs and coming up into a seated position. Coming back into the cross-legged pose we began this class with. Inhale, palms up above you. Exhale. Namaste, my friends. I really hope you enjoyed that grounding autumn flow. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I send you all my love and light. Namaste.